Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial. We've got some freezing ice cold weather in Germany at the moment, and being out shopping I just run over this beautiful colorful material, nice and fluffy and cozy, and I thought that is exactly what I need for those days now to keep myself warm. So I'd like to show to you in the next two videos that I'm going to be loading up in YouTube. In the first video, how you can do the cutting for this particular fleece jacket, and the second video will show you exactly how to sew it, because I've got a couple of new things included in this which you might not have seen anywhere else, so I like to show you. First of all, I got some pockets made into this jacket to keep the hands warm and cozy as well. And if you look closely here, I made the neck quite high because I always like to have my neck nice and warm. And just for show, I put some huge buttons on there with a huge buttonhole made out of a loop. And when I open this now, you see that I got a zipper underneath. It's invisible like this because I put this big part of the material over it. And here is the zipper. And exactly how to do this I will show you in this coming video. On the bottom I also put another button, a big one, to keep this overlay always closed. No matter how windy it is, it will never flap open when I got my nice little button here with this beautiful little loop closed up. Well, so why don't we get started? The first video, as I said, I repeat, will be about how to do the pattern for this lovely jacket, and the second video, which will be a couple of hours later, then you will see exactly how to stitch it up. Alright, let's get started. The main thing for having a nice fitting fleece jacket is your pattern. That everybody knows. But the pattern are usually the biggest problem as well. Mainly if you do not have a pattern the way you like to do the jacket. But most of you will have definitely some, let's say, a large blouse that has a relatively loose fit on you, where you could take the pattern from, or you might even have that pattern. So on the basis on that, I like to explain to you what else you got to do to make this particular fleece jacket like I've just shown you in my intro. First of all, cut the back part. You have it folded over in the edge, and I like to add the pockets, and instead of cutting exactly along my pattern, I add, if that is the opening for my pocket, I add a 1 centimeter onto this pattern while I'm cutting this, where I will add my pocket material onto. So that's all you got to do at the moment for your back. And the distance of how big and in which position you want the pocket opening to be, you have to transfer over to the side seam from your front part as well, of course. So that's the first part you should cut, your back. The second you should cut is your sleeves, one pair. Don't forget everywhere to add the seams that you would like to add on. I added 3 centimeters, I allowed 3 centimeters for my seam on the bottom here, and all the way around the sleeve I got, as usually, 1 centimeter seam, as I like to tell you. Also on this sleeve, don't forget to mark where your shoulder will be. So as an example, if you do not have a pattern and you take maybe an old blouse to pieces, or a fleece jacket that you do have that's not nice anymore, don't forget to mark where the shoulder got to fit. And if you don't have any marks in the front or the back, just make yourself some little cuts into the front, because I always do it, and if you're working in industrial sewing, you always have in the front sleeve part one mark, so you always know that is my front. Or if you have a sleeve and you're not sure which is my front or my back, you can do a little test. Fold this over on the side-by-side seam here, and you will see one will be quite bigger than the other one. The lower one going is always the front sleeve, and the higher one is the back, because if you're looking at your body, you can see the sleeve needs more volume there on the back part. So you cut one pair of the sleeves, and now we get to the front. It's a little bit more difficult, but I know you can manage. I start again by telling you about the pockets, which instead of cutting my front part straight up, I marked here where my pocket entrance, the opening will be, and I added 1 centimeter already for the pocket there on the side seam, and I prepared 2 pairs of lining, which I actually took the same material from my jacket for the visible pocket part, and I took a warm, nice pocket material for the not visible part. And of course this has got to be at least the width of the part you marked here. It can be a little bit bigger, that's nicer and easier to work with later. So you need 2 pairs of your pockets, and we continue with the front here. As I showed you in the intro, that I have, besides that I have a zipper in the middle of the jacket, I have this big part standing over on my front. So if you have a normal pattern, you first of all look where your front middle is. You fold this over, and now you can see here, that is my left side of my front, which I only added 1 centimeter seam allowance. That is plenty for me, because that is where my zipper will go. And right away I can say about the zipper, I will have a 3 centimeter seam on the bottom, but I also chosen a zipper that is slightly shorter again, because I don't want it to go all the way down to the bottom. I want the zipper to finish approximately 2-3 centimeters above the finished jacket that I will have. So you need the zipper, and you will need a facing to go against this centimeter, which should be exactly the same length as your front underneath part where the zipper will be in, and I cut it 5 centimeters wide. Okay, to do the right side of your jacket, you need to add the width of the overblend you would like to have. In my case, I want a finished here on the top of about 10 centimeters. That's why I added 11 centimeters onto my front middle. And on the bottom I wanted to slightly go smaller. I added 9 centimeters. That means when my centimeter seam is gone, I got on the bottom 8 centimeters from the middle extra added on. And then you just combine those 2 points that you marked there for yourself. And again, for this part, you also need a facing. I've got this one prepared here. The facing has got to be wider than this piece, because it's got to be stitched in with the other side of the zipper later on. So I've cut this all together 12 centimeters wide on the top. On the bottom, I actually made it 3 centimeters shorter than my back, than my front, because I don't want everything to fold over later on for my seam down there. I don't want it to get too thick, but I got to have the width down here also at least then on 10 or 11 centimeters. So you need at least 1 centimeter more down here. Well, that is so much to say completely for the front. So we can put this away. And as I want to add some nice buttons on the top too and on the bottom of the jacket. One, I will make from a little stripe later on while I'm sewing some very small loops for these buttons. So you also need a little stripe of your material to do the loops for the buttonholes. Alright, and now we come to the color that you for sure, or I'm quite sure you don't have. And to do that, we need some measurements from the front and from the back. Therefore, this is actually my back piece, as you saw earlier on, which I've been using. But I'm also marked here the shape of my front piece in, to be able to explain it better to you. Because now what you should do, take a flat piece of paper. First of all, decide how high do you want the color for you to be. I myself decided I wanted to have a height of about 14 centimeters in the front, and I will cut that here while having the material light over. That means I gotta do my pattern 15 centimeters high. So draw a right angle pattern here for you all the way along 15 centimeters high, unless you want it smaller, the color, then of course less. So when you have that, you take first of all your pattern now and measure the difference between your neck in the back from your pattern and your front, how low that is. In my case that is 3 centimeters here. Now these 3 centimeters I will mark right there. I make a little mark there and I write here that this is my back middle of the color. My back middle of the color, which will be then also light in the edge, the material. Now you'd need those two measurements from your neck parts here. So first of all, here will be one centimeter seam on your shoulder. Just avoid that 1 centimeter and start measuring where your 1 centimeter seam would start and measure around, and in my case this is about 10.5 centimeters. These 10.5 centimeters I mark right here on my right angle piece of paper. The next measurement is the measurement to the middle of my front. That means again here I take that 1 centimeter seam away again and I measure right here how much that round of my neck is, and I got about 12.8 there. And now I take these 12.8 and I do another mark over there. That means that part is actually my shoulder, which I have to mark. So far you only got this square, you got these two marks, which that is your middle of the front, and this is your back middle. Now you just extend this mark you put there a little bit up there, because this is your shoulder mark, and now you do a drawing from this front middle slightly in a curve there to your back middle. And now it depends on how high you want your front edge to go over. First of all, for the underneath where the zipper will go in, as we earlier on the front added 1 centimeter seam, you add this 1 centimeter seam here. So that will be half of your color for the left side, if it's a lady's jacket, the opposite way around if it would be a gent's. And now you add exactly the amount onto starting from your front middle that you added here on your front. From your middle, you see that here, that's got to be exactly that length. Then you even again, because this will be stitched in like that. This is your color, And there goes your shoulder. Now I prepared this already, so you see my shoulder will be stitched in there, and here comes from my front middle, not from the seam there, this part added on from my right side. So, and now we're cutting this one. That means I've done this already, but I show you. As I said, I got it all prepared here. I cut this out, as you just watched me. Alright, now I folded my material over. Here is my back middle. Here is my shoulder mark. That is important that you need. Here is my front middle mark, and that's my complete right side. Then you fold this over, and here you see that is your underneath, the left side, that is cut like that, and you got this 1 centimeter seam allowance there. So when you open it up, it should look approximately like that. Of course, like I mentioned before, you can do this as a pair like that, and you can put a seam there. It all depends on how you got your material and how you would like to do it. But I did it in one piece, and for the sewing it's not much difference. Alright, that is all the patterns you got to prepare and do. I would say you can get started on it if you wish, as I have to stitch the jacket together now, but this will be the second video that I'm doing for you, and give it about 3-4 hours difference in time until that is loaded up, because it takes an enormous long time to load up tutorials in YouTube. So after you've seen making the pattern and what to do, you just have to be a little bit patient, and then you get the video how to do this jacket, how to put the zipper in the front in correctly, and to finish the jacket off. Alright, I'll see you in a moment then.